Today on Homeworthy, we're stepping inside the stylish homes of power players in interior design and fashion. Join us as we visit the residences of Karen Mooney, president of Ballard Designs, Catalina Gonzalez, founder of children's clothing brand Dondolo, and Elise Erens, the co-founder of fashion brands Frances Valentine and Kate Spade. You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Before today's episode, click the join button below to support all of the storytelling we do on this channel. Our growing community of members help to directly fund more videos so we can capture these extraordinary homes from around the world. So join today to receive early and exclusive access to new Homeworthy videos.
Homeworthy, I'm Karen. Welcome to our home in Atlanta. Come on in, I want to show you around.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Like and subscribe for more.
Hi, I'm Karen Mooney, and you are in my house in Atlanta, Georgia. I started out in the world as a graphic designer. That's what I was trained in, what I went to college for. And so I love design, but it wasn't necessarily interiors that I had a passion for. But I like balance and symmetry and all of those things, and that was all in my blood. And so about 23 years ago, I was looking for a job, and I knew about Ballard Designs. It's an Atlanta company, and I'm from Atlanta. And they were looking for an art director, and that was just perfectly up my alley. And I loved the aesthetic of the brand, and I knew it well. And so I was excited to apply and be in a company that not only I was good at what I did, but I loved the product around me too. I find that that really makes my day so fulfilling every day for the last 22 years. And so I went to Ballard and worked there, started as art director, and just really had a lot of curiosity about the way the business ran, and behind the scenes and the machinations of the marketing department and the circulation department and the merchandising department. And so over the years, I was really rewarded with growth through the company. And about 2 years ago, I became president of Ballard. So it's been a really fun journey. And like I said, there's nothing better than going to work every day and just loving all the stuff around you, plus the people around you. So I can't think really honestly of a better place to work. Welcome to our home. This is the foyer of our little 1920s bungalow, which really isn't much of a foyer. It leads right into our living room, but we try to space it off a little bit and keep it segregated with this big rug. So it was important to me to have lots of seating in here so that we can all sit around with all of our friends and have plenty of room for drinks and cocktails, and everybody's comfortable. And I'm always really careful that there's a table real close for your drink. And I really don't want people to be worried about coasters and all of that. So I try to keep surfaces as family friendly as possible, like this sofa. Okay, so don't freak out. I've got 2 boys, they're pigs, like all boys are. And they bring all their friends over and they put their sneakers up on here. But this is Sunbrella fabric, and it has really been amazing. I bet this thing is 5 years old, and anytime anything happens to it, recently a big old cup of coffee was spilled on it. It wasn't me. Just unzip that, threw it in the wash, put it back on, and it looks brand new. So don't be afraid of white, but I would say make sure you're getting some kind of easy care or high performance fabric if you're gonna go that way. So other things in this room that I love, let's talk about these chairs over here. Check these out. So this is a weird little nook. A lot of houses that are old have like these little weird nooks and you don't know what to do with them. And this is probably the 3rd iteration of what I've done over here. I started with a big bookcase, and then I did a console with art. And finally I landed on a little bit more seating because that's what I wanted. And I lucked out because I found these very small, petite little chairs at a market in the south of France. And I don't speak French. So when we were negotiating, I thought that they kept saying that they were €2,000. And there was no upholstery, y'all. It was just kind of the frame and nothing. And I was like, I can't do it. I can't, $2,000. And then someone I was with was like, I think they're saying 200 euro, not 2,000 euros. So I was like, I'll take them. So these are a favorite find of mine. I brought them back and upholstered them in this beautiful linen by Suzanne Kassler that we do at Ballard. So, but again, look, a little table, you gotta have a little something for the drinks. And you'll notice, I mentioned I've been at Ballard for 100 years, but it's important to me that my house doesn't feel like I just picked it out of the showroom and brought it into the house. And so all over the house are little pieces of personality or things I've bought back from trips or things that are vintage, like this little table, that add just another level of fun to the room. You really just don't want everything to look brand new or that like it's from one spot. So I like to liven it up with just random things I find here and there all over the world. My whole house is pretty neutral. I used to think it was gray, but then I really started looking around and I realized it's really more taupe. So there's a lot of taupe in the house and whites and things like that. But over the years, I've gotten a little less afraid of color. So some of the bedrooms, as my children have moved out, have more color. One has a whole blush moment. The other is sort of navies and reds. And I'm really enjoying that. It sort of also is reflective in my wardrobe I found over the years. My wardrobe has been very neutral. But over the past several years, I've just had much more of an appetite for color. It's really making me happy. And so you'll see it layered in little bits around the house. Oh, wait till we get to the basement, then you'll see a whole lot of color. So this is a 1920s bungalow in a neighborhood that's full of similar bungalow style houses in a little historic part of Atlanta called Virginia Highlands. And we moved here about 18 years ago, mostly because it's about a block away from this great intersection that has lots of restaurants and bars, and we just really wanted to have a walkable lifestyle in Atlanta. So most weekends we don't even get in our cars. We just walk around the neighborhood and enjoy what it has to offer. This house has really served our family so well over the years. We moved into it when we had small children and not a ton of money to renovate, and so we lived in it as it was for many years. And then as time went on and our needs changed and the children grew and we sort of saw the potential the house had, we did a couple different renovations, added a pool in the backyard, and really made it a family-friendly house that welcomed everybody in the neighborhood, but also really worked well for entertaining. We love to have people over. We love to cook. I can't imagine really a weekend without having someone drop in or a dinner party or grilling out in the back. It's really just a hub of entertainment for us, and it's worked so well for that. To me, it's such a welcoming and warm space. I want it to feel inspirational, but I definitely don't want it to ever feel intimidating or unwelcoming. I want it to be a place where you feel comfortable putting your feet up and having a beer and hanging out and chatting with your friends. So let's check out the sunroom. So this room has had so many iterations. I can't even tell you. When we first moved in, this was our family room. We didn't have any other rooms. It was the living room and this room. And so this is where we all four of us sat and watched TV, every night. And then as the house sort of morphed with us over the years and we added another family room, this became the kids' video game room. And so they were in here, every night playing video games till 2 in the morning, as teenage boys do. And then during COVID, I kicked them out and made this my home office and made them take the video games up to their bedrooms because it's such a beautifully lit room. I wanted to take advantage of the sunlight, and really, if I was going to be here working all day, I really feel like having windows around you makes you feel better while you're working. So this became my office and still functions as my office now. I probably work from home 3 days a week, and so I just kind of slide up right here to this console and bring in a dining room chair and work right there, and it works perfectly for me. And then take the laptop down and take it into the office when I'm not working, and it's, it functions as another little TV room for us. And beautiful light, like I said. I've got hidden little, let me show you this. So I was interviewing an interior designer one time. We were talking about Roman shades. And I told you I love to copy good ideas. Like, I don't have any of my own, I just take them from everyone else. So this designer was saying, look, there's just no way to make Roman shades that aren't going to break. No matter how expensive you get or how inexpensive you get, the up and down of that Roman shade will just break. So what he told me to do was do a faux Roman shade and then do little blinds behind. So I did. Look, I got little like $20 blinds that go behind. So if you're in here in the day and you want to watch TV, you just pull those down and then they just go up easy peasy like that. So practical. I love it. So I have a mix of faux plants and real plants in the house. I like to grow flowers outside. I'm not great at it, but I like to try. So I have a smattering of those around the house. But we travel a lot, and so house plants don't always tend to live. And so I'm not afraid of a beautiful faux plant. So I've got one in here from Ballard that it looks so real. People always comment on it. I've got some silk hydrangea here that I just love them with the room because of the palette. And then over here, I've got some eucalyptus that are fake. And to me, like, you can't tell really eucalyptus from fake eucalyptus. And they look great year round. Sometimes I put that as a centerpiece. Sometimes I stick it in the corner to fill a hole. Sometimes it goes on the mantle. You can just drag it around and use it anywhere. So I am not at all afraid of faux greenery. I think it's a smart choice. I sit around lots of spaces in the house a lot. So I will go and sit in a nook and see how it feels and how is the lighting and is there a spot for my drink or where am I going to put my feet up, or is the person who's going to sit next to me going to be close enough to me? And I adjust. And you know, it's still going on today, but I make sure too that the things that people sit on are durable. I don't want to be nervous, and I don't want them to be nervous about the fabric or finishes or whatever. I make sure that it's very family friendly in the construction of the stuff, but also sort of the layout of everything needs to feel comfortable and be welcoming. So let's head to the dining room. Like I mentioned, we love to entertain, and to me, the best dining experience is around a round table because everyone is equal around a round table. You know, no one can really dominate the conversation. Everyone can hear a little bit better. This table seats 6. I literally had to count my own chairs. It seats 6, but I have this really cool extender that folds out and goes on it, and it expands the seating to 12. So I can seat 12 people in here, which is wonderful for the holidays. And I had a big tablecloth made for it that's a big zebra print, so it's, you know, kind of a fun, exciting vibe. And I just love it. The other thing I want to show you in here is what I did with these chairs because, like I said, family friendly. So I had them upholstered with a pleather. So I'm telling you, you cannot destroy these things. I had just a cream fabric for years, and I was like, you know, that's not wearing so well. So when I had them redone, I decided to just go full on family friendly with pleather, which I think is pretty smart if you ask me. The other thing I want to point out in the dining room is that I have a lot of surfaces that can easily change into a bar or a buffet. So, you know, you move these 3 things and you've got, maybe you want to put all of your desserts here that you can easily access while you're eating your dinner. Or maybe this is where all the drinks go. Often the table gets so full with the food, there's not room. Or over here, you know, same thing. Maybe it could be stunning to set this up as a bar, self-serve bar, so when people come over, they can do their own drinks while you're doing other things. You don't have to wait on everyone hand and foot all the time. Oh, look at this, you guys. This is pretty cool. You might not be able to see it, but this is my great-great-grandparents' wedding certificate that I had framed from Germany. So I just think it's so beautiful, and I love mixing things like that into the house, you know, things that, you know, it's not art, but to me it's so sentimental and it's so beautiful and it adds such a nice layer to the room. And I like that it's stuck behind this thing. I think it kind of adds an interesting little moment. I love animal print. I wear it all the time. There's probably some in every room of my house, and I have heard the rule that you're only supposed to have 1 animal print in a room, but I actively defy that. So the rug in this room has a leopard border and a leopard center. So I have these pillows that I love. I got these at Ballard years ago, but I've been in love with them for years. And they're, you know, they're really bold, but to me, Honestly, in my mind, animal prints function as a neutral. I think they look amazing with a stripe, with a plaid. I mean, I can't really think of anything I wouldn't put an animal print with. It's sort of a problem. This gentleman gets a lot of commentary. People ask me all the time, oh my gosh, where did you get that? And to me, this is one of those things you bring into a house that's gonna add some personality, right? I found it in a vintage store. He has 4 heads or faces, maybe more. He's got a lot of noses. But it's just cool, right? It's just something that you're not gonna be able to find when you go out shopping on, in the mall or online. I really think it's important to nab those little things that speak to you when you're out and about and you're like, oh man, I love that. That's so cool. I haven't seen anything like that. Grab it, take it home, find a special spot for it. Yeah, he can't get enough attention. So this is a fun little piece, and I'll talk about these things. So I find it really interesting over time when you are drawn to things, how collections sort of come together. So I bought these 2 things, like 5 years ago on some trip to LA. And then I found this thing like 3 years ago at a market in France. And then someone gave me these for Christmas 2 years ago. And somehow, it all just comes together when you find things you love. And I always try to cast a fresh eye around the house and see what I've got and realize, oh, look, those 3 things would really look fabulous together. If they weren't living together in a collection like this, I don't think they'd have the same kind of impact that they do when they're all like that together, grouped. And so, I encourage everyone to and myself, to keep an eye out for what you're drawn to and what you already have and what might really work well together with what you already own. So this, I really like pieces that function as well as look good, right? So this fits this space perfectly, but the important thing to me is that it has lots of storage. So I have a pressure cooker. If any of you have a pressure cooker, you know that they're ginormous. And so this thing fits my pressure cooker perfectly, and it lives in there. And then all the other space I use for booze and mixers. And so when we're setting up that DIY bar and people come over, it's all easily accessible right in here. I pull it out, set up a beautiful bar. And then the bottom shelves hold oversized platters and an extra set of flatware that I have. So form and function all together. Has to work. So here we are in the kitchen, which, I think for most people is the heart of the home. When we moved in, this was much different. It had an octagonal island right here, very, very weird. And so, but like I said, we lived with it for many years while we figured out what was the best way to function in the space. Not just how it was gonna look, but how was it gonna function for us as a family. And so we ended up changing this into a family room and kitchen. This room back here used to be my son's bedroom. But we didn't have a way to get to the backyard. And we have a pool in the backyard. And so literally you had to walk down our driveway, out the front door, down the driveway, around back to get to the pool. And so I labored for years, I'm not kidding, over what's the best way to get to the backyard because I didn't really want to take his bedroom. Could we go out the side of the kitchen? Could we, there aren't many options. And so finally we were like, we're gonna have to do it. So we ended up incorporating his room into the kitchen and made a keeping room and a kitchen. And it really functions beautifully because, everyone sits here, there are bar stools, we work, we chat, but you're not super into the mess of the kitchen. And then it's also super convenient to the dining room, so it's nice. Let me show you the things that I sort of saved on and the things that I splurged on. So if you look over here, this is a long run of cabinetry that holds all of our dishes, food, everything, is because we have no upper cabinets on the upper side of the kitchen, just on this side. All of the cabinetry in the kitchen is actually IKEA cabinetry. And so definitely where I saved, I bought the wood cabinetry and then I had it all painted professionally. And so it really has functioned well. I feel like it's been more than 10 years that I've had it, 15 years, and it's been lovely. But then I splurged on this, I think, beautiful tile that to me, I still love it. You know, I love the gray and white, as you can tell. It's a little problem. And then my countertops, back to being family friendly. Like, I just don't think I could live with a marble countertop because it's too alive for me. You know, I'd be constantly wiping up the lemon juice and the marinara and the red wine. And so instead we got the quartz Caesar stone countertops, and I have been so pleased. They, to me, still look brand new and function so well, and clean up super easy. So great choice as far as I'm concerned. We did put in this butcher block between the sink and the stove, and we actually use it as a butcher block. We oil it and use it as a, I don't put raw meat on it, but you know, veggies and things like that, we chop right on here. It's definitely worn with age, and I just love that. You know, it's a kitchen that's used and loved, and it's got memories all over it, and I just think that's beautiful. Oh, look, a live plant. I have one or two in the house. So this is where we spend a whole lot of our time. This is what is now our family room. And you know, this is the kids' favorite chair. And when I talked about that zebra tablecloth, it's this same exact fabric. So when I fall in love with something, I guess I can't get enough of it. Again, a sunbrella fabric, just like that white sofa in the living room, which I think is great for the tablecloth as well, because it's super durable. It's not going to stain. If you're spending all that money to have a tablecloth made, you want to make sure it's going to last you a lot of years. And then, you know, the other thing about it is, you know, when you have teenagers sitting here eating pizza, same kind of thing. You wipe it off and it's clean. And the other thing is it doesn't fade in the sun. So this room gets a lot of sun, and so the pattern doesn't fade, and just continues to look great after all these years. I love a swivel chair too, because you can talk, you can watch TV. It's perfect, right? I just love it, and it's super comfy. So this is another morning spot for me. Oh, let's talk about this mirrored wall. So like I said, I live in Atlanta, in the city, and so I have a neighbor probably 15 feet from me, 20 feet, and this used to be, there was a window here, but when we were doing the room, I knew that I didn't want to be looking out that window at my neighbor all the time. But it was important that the room still felt light, and I wasn't sure how light I could keep it without having a window here. So I decided I would put these antique mirrors in to kind of reflect the light around the room, as well as just make it feel bigger and more open. And I've been really pleased with it, and people are like stunned. They're like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. But it was very simple to do, simple to execute, and I really feel like we got a lot of bang for the buck for that idea. Now, you'll notice like these windows that face out back, I don't have any drapery back here. I felt like it would be too much in the room, just crowd us in a little too much. I wanted it to feel really open to the backyard and to the activities that were going on out there. So I kept these intentionally bare for the room. So I want to take you down to the basement, one of my favorite spots in the house. My husband wanted to put in an Irish pub, but I intervened, and we got something a little more special down there. Come on. On the way to the basement, we have to pass through this little hallway, which I have intentionally shoved full of stuff. So let's talk about it, right? This might be the first bit of color you've seen in the house. This was a piece of art given to me by Mike Devine, who is a local photographer and artist. And every year at Christmas, if you're really nice to him, he'll give you a piece of art. So I framed this myself. And I just love this little pop of orange. So I partnered it with this, which is sort of it's a knockoff of a harvest basket that people put over their backs when they gather grapes or something in the south of France. But then I put, look, y'all, this is huge, right? I bought this, I fell in love with it, and literally couldn't find a place in my house it would fit except here. And I love the idea of putting something so incredibly oversized in such a small space. It's very unexpected, but it brings a lot of drama to what otherwise would be just a moment that you walk by. So I've kind of put a lot of things in here, but I think the monotony of color, except for the orange, really kind of ties it all together and makes it sort of a seamless entrance into the house, where you kind of get it sort of a hint of the expectation of what you're going to see everywhere else. So let's go. There's lots of art on the walls on the way down, and I intentionally painted this stairwell really dark because I wanted everyone to feel like they were entering another moment. I didn't want it to feel at all like you were staying where you were. We were going somewhere new. Come on. So this is not an Irish pub, as you can well guess. When my husband's like, I really want to build an Irish pub in the basement, let me tell you what, it was a cement, dirt basement, and I did not see his vision and didn't appreciate it either. But then I got my head around it and I was like, you know what, that could be really cool to have something down there and really make it a place to lounge and hang and party by the pool. And so we dug out a bunch of dirt and made this little basement. It's kind of weird, but it's kind of awesome. I've got this big giant bar that houses anything you can possibly imagine. But the best part about, I think, the whole space is the kegerator, which not only has beer for the beer drinkers, but also has rosé on tap. Let's have a glass. Left for lager, right for rosé. Cheers. So we actually call this bar Frenchie's on the Waterfront. It's named after our dead French bulldog, Mr. French, who still lives with us in our hearts. And it's on the waterfront because it's by the pool. So welcome to Frenchie's on the Waterfront. So you'll definitely notice that there's a totally different color palette down here. And since it's a basement and the ceilings are pretty low, like quite a few places down here I can touch the ceiling, and there's lots of ups and downs with ductwork. And so I decided I'm just going to paint the whole entire thing, every surface, this sort of peacocky blue, a shiny peacocky blue. I didn't lacquer it, I didn't go to that expense, but just a glossy blue that's everywhere. And you can see like lots of corners and edges and things, but it pulls the whole thing together to me and makes it feel very intimate. And in the summer it's cool, in the winter it feels very welcoming. It really just works and I love it. And you can also see a lot of other color that I put in the space. I really stuck with jewel tones and darker colors, lots of oranges and goldenrods and purples. They don't necessarily even go together, but in my mind, they were all of the sort of the same value, and I thought that they would work together, and it really all came together beautifully. You've probably noticed as we walked around that I've got a lot of art collections on the wall, and I love to group things together that are sentimental, but sometimes when you're starting a gallery wall like this, you don't have everything you need, but you know you want to do something, right? And so I started this wall with this poster, which is a vintage poster I got from my husband for his birthday because he's from New York. And it's a KLM poster, which is my initials, so I thought it was kind of cute. And it was the colors of the basement, even better. So I started with that, and then the rest of everything that I had hanging here in these spots was all art that I'd got at IKEA. But it was like the sizes and shapes that I wanted. And then over the years, what I've done is remove the piece of IKEA art and replace it with, like, for instance, this is something that I got in New Orleans where my son is in college on a weekend visit. But this, and this are still IKEA pieces that I have yet to replace. But as time goes on and I find the right things that fit there, I just pull those down and put something new up. So that's a great tip when you are building a gallery wall. It doesn't have to all start with something precious or everything have to be perfect. It can change over time as you find the things that you fall in love with. Let's look over here at the lounge area, which we spend a lot of time lounging down here. So I fell in love with a hotel in London called the Dean Street Townhouse. And it had a lot of this sort of navy peacock blue and also golden velvet and beautiful brown leathers. And I was like, I've got to have that. I got to figure out how to get that into my life. And so when we started building this space mentally, I was like, oh, a velvet banquette. And we have people in here in wet bathing suits all the time. And we eat down here all the time, have dinner parties down here, and it looks great. And this isn't a performance velvet or anything, it's just a velvet, and it's really performed well. And I've decided, just to let it all go mentally. It's okay. Like, what I really want is people to be comfortable and to live in the space and not worry about it. So the first time someone sat down in the red bathing suit, I was like, and then I was like, It's fine. You know, this home is here for us to live in, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna live in it and love it. So here's our beautiful velvet banquettes with some silk velvet pillows that bring out the same colors of the walls. A fun little llama from Anthropology brings it all together. And really, it's just a wonderful space. And I've got friends that have little kids who love to come and swim at the pool too. And they love this little spot right here. Look at these little vintage chairs I picked up. And again, trying to mix in something vintage with something new so it doesn't all feel like you picked it up at the same spot on the same day. But I loved the color. I thought the jewel tone of the purple was beautiful. It wasn't something I'd planned for, but when I saw it, I was like, you know what, that's gonna work down there. And the kids love sitting at this little low table. They pull this little stool out. Again, y'all, some more animal print. I can't resist. I told you, it's in every single room. But they sit here and they feast like they're kings and queens, thinking that this was made specifically for them, which I just love. Here is the most prized possession of my children in the home. If the home were to burn down, I think they would come and grab the PBR sign, which we actually got from a local bar restaurant here called Cow Tippers when it was closing for good. It was a sort of an establishment in town. So when it closed, we had some inside scoop and we were able to scoop this up and bring it home, and they just love it. And I just sort of think it sets the tone for the whole space as a place that you're here to have fun, relax, and have a good time and hang out with your friends with the king of beers. No, it's not the king of beers. It's the blue ribbon. You know what? I'm not a spokesperson for PBR. I feel like a lot of times people waste money on impulse purchases, and they'll see something that's on clearance or for sale. I do the same. I'm just as guilty. But if I know that, you know, I need a console here, or I'm going to need this size chair there, I can keep my eyes open and keep my wallet ready. But the other thing I think is important is to decorate the spaces you use the most. A lot of interior designers that I've spoken to in the past and worked with always say, oh, do your master suite, do your master bedroom, you know, you're there a lot and treat yourself and it's where you are at night. But for me, what I wanted was spaces where people were all the time. So the dining room, the kitchen family room, the living room where people sit, those are spaces that I needed to have at least functional pieces in right away. And the decorating, the layering, all of that can come, you know, over time. To me, it has to evolve over time, or else it looks like you went into a store and bought it all and, you know, maxed out your credit card and filled your house up. That is not what I want my home to feel like. I really want it to grow and be an expression of who we are as the family that lives in the house. So it takes time, but I would say start with the space that you are in the most. All right, so when we renovated the kitchen and took away my son's bedroom, we had to go up and add another bedroom and a guest room. So let's go up and check out that guest room that we made. Let me tell you about this little lady. So there's an artist, her name is Sally King Benedict. I love her. She's a local Atlanta lady. And I've been wanting a piece of her art for a very long time, but it is not inexpensive. And so instead she does these beautiful little silk scarves for a couple $100. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do that. I got that and I floated it in this acrylic frame and I got the whole same effect, a beautiful Sally King Benedict for a little less money. I'm on budget all the time. But let me just point out, this is one of the few faces you're gonna see in my house. I really don't like having family photos around. People think I'm like the meanest mom ever, but let me just say, I remember what my family looks like. I don't need them. I don't need them staring at me all the time, so you won't see any family photos around my house. It's just sort of a personal preference. So welcome to the guest suite. It's actually bigger than the master that we sleep in, but we decided that we wanted to stay on the main level so we could get out to the deck very easy, and this is reserved now for guests. And Bunny Williams taught me many years ago that in a guest room, you need to get into that bed, you need to sleep in that bed, you need to understand how it feels to be a guest in that room and accommodate accordingly. So I've slept in here many times to make sure that it's a comfortable bed, which it is. I get compliments all the time. The other thing Bunny taught me is buy some magazines for your guests, put them by the bedside table. She likes People, she really likes People magazine, but I have some home decor magazines that I like to tuck in here for folks to read while they're falling asleep at night. I even have a little speaker by the bed that you can Bluetooth into. And then across the room, I've got a coffee bar all set up. I'll show you. Come on over here. So I put a little coffee bar in the room because I personally cannot function in the morning without my first cup of coffee. And what guest wants to go downstairs in their jammies and find the host and get a cup of coffee? It's all right in here. I've got a coffee machine, a tea kettle, there's coffee bags and pods, of course coffee cups. I also outfit it with waters and wine when I have guests coming. So it's all inclusive and ready to go, but closes up beautifully as a little accent piece. The other thing that I made sure that we had in here were reading lights. So I've got these gooseneck lights that each person can control on their own so they can read without waking up the other person, which I think is very important. And then I installed, which I thought was a fun idea, a little picture light. This is really designed to go over art, but I thought it was a pretty little accent to put over the bed. And just takes no room and adds a little ambiance to the room. And you can see that I had these, bedside tables built in because I wanted to take the space for the room. I didn't want the wall to start here and lose a couple feet. I thought, why not just build it into the niche into the wall as we renovated? And so it really worked out beautifully. And then there's a lot of controversy over accent walls with wallpaper, but I did it, y'all. I did an accent wall with wallpaper and did just this one wall and inside the niches and behind the bed headboard. And I really think it turned out beautifully. I think it kind of brings the palette of the whole space together, but adds a little pattern so it's not super boring in here. This is a big piece of art that fits perfectly in this space, and you would have thought I purchased it for this space, which I did not. It's a great example of looking around your house and saying, do you have something that will work better somewhere else? So when I was renovating this room, this was actually in my son's bedroom, and he was heading off to college, and I was going to redo his room. So I was like, you know what? This works so much better down the hall in the other room. So I just took it, and it has a whole new life in here. And so that's just the great thing about things you love. Don't let them live in one place forever. Pick them up, take them somewhere else, and let them have a whole new life. So this is the guest room, bathroom, and it happens to be the only tub in the whole house. Everybody always says, oh, you have to have a tub for resale. And of course we were like, all right, we don't bathe, but all right, this is our tub for resale. And so it's, it's pretty luxurious spa-like bathroom, and the guests seem to love it. And I will note, again, more animal print. I can't seem to resist no matter what room I'm in. I've got to have a little bit of animal print. These are actually indoor-outdoor rugs that I decided would be a beautiful alternative to bath mats. So I put those in here. And the other thing that I've done in a couple bathrooms of our house is frost the glass for privacy. So I never really want anyone to have to worry about who's looking in on them or what's going on, or do I need to be worried about where the neighbor is right now. So just to make it easy for everybody and to keep the light coming in the space so you don't have to have drapery or shutters, I frosted the glass in 2 of our bathrooms, and it just makes it so simple and easy. And you still get to see all the greenery outside. And then for those who don't bathe, there's a beautiful shower with marble floors. But let me just tell you my secret about tile. So when we were renovating, I was really overwhelmed with the idea of picking tile for all the bathrooms. So there were 3 or 4 bathrooms that I had to pick tile for. And it's not my forte. I told you I like to copy people, but I didn't have enough energy then to figure all that out. And so what I ended up doing was just white subway tile in all of the showers, and then in each of the bathrooms I did a different floor to add a little personality to each of those bathrooms. So this was, a little sort of more sophisticated bathroom. We went with the gray herringbone tile. I have another one that's more of a traditional black and white hexagon tile, and I have one that's got white flat pebbles. And so each of them has their own personality, but it took a lot of the complication out of it for me. I love subway tile anyway. I think it's classic and will be beautiful forever. But each room has its own little vibe that's special to it. Home, comfort, family. I think comfort and family. Friends, of course, but to me, friends are often family. My friends, I consider my family. So, but to me, if it's not comfortable, it's a failure.
Hello, Homeworthy. I'm Catalina. Welcome to my home in Dallas. Come in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Before today's episode, click the join button below to support all of the storytelling we do on this channel. Our growing community of members help to directly fund more videos so we can capture these extraordinary homes from around the world. So join today to receive early and exclusive access to new Homeworthy videos.
I am Catalina Gonzalez Jorba, and we're here in my home in Dallas, Texas, where I live with my 4 boys and my husband and my huge Bernese mountain dog. And I am the founder and designer of Dondolo. This home is very close to our hearts, to all my family's heart. My husband was the one who literally put on all the work. And we, first of all, when we started looking for a home that was closer to our boys' schools. And we looked for almost 3 years to find a home that actually had a backyard. Because, you know, we have 4 boys and they're always either playing football or soccer or in the pool when, you know, the weather allows it. So we wanted a big backyard, and it was impossible to find. Finally, COVID year, I walked into this home and I hated the insides. I was like, I don't like anything about it, but it has a huge backyard and I love that. So I immediately put an offer on it and then called my husband. I was like, we found a home. So he was very, very surprised because he hadn't even seen it, but also excited. So, and he was basically the GC for the home. He's been in commercial real estate and development all his life. And he was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it myself. And it was the best, idea ever, because it was an amazing process for both of us. But also with our designers and architect, it was a beautiful, beautiful journey. So when we first walked the house, it was built in 2006, so it wasn't that old, but it really needed that soul. It was a very cookie cutter home, and it had a lot of dark wood everywhere. And it's not that I don't love dark rooms, we're sitting in one, but it needed more of a heart. And that's what we started doing. So we first did renovations to the house, and then we added another 3,000 square feet where we put our flex room. That's what we call it, but it's actually our entertaining room, which we dreamed about having. I love hosting parties. I love hosting big dinners. I love having friends and family over. So it is the best place to do it, and it's yellow. So it's the happiest room in the house, as I like to call it. And we also added our masters upstairs and closet. Welcome to my foyer. I'm so excited to have you here and show you around. This entry table was sourced by C's, which is an antique, is my designers. And then I have a really fun story about this. Champagne chiller. I actually got it around top not too long ago. And I saw it with orchids and I was like, how fun it will be to have it just, in my entryway. And then this is from a estate sale. Who else loves finding like fun treasures at a estate sale? I love it. Like my husband always tells me I love old lady stuff. So I do. I love it so much. And then this incredible wallpaper. So I always dreamed about having kind of like the outdoors brought in. And I believe this wallpaper does that. So it was completely custom made by Gracie Wallpaper. I took out some of the palm trees that were included in the original, and then added more white florals throughout. So yes, I love it when I walk in. I thought at some point that I was gonna get kind of tired of seeing so much wallpaper in my life, but I actually enjoy it very, very much. So nothing that you see came with the house. This floor, it's, you know, how we place it, it looks, I don't know, I love the texture of this floor. You know, the black and white is very traditional, but at the same time, goes really well with all the black details around the house, which I love. And this rug is antique Asian rug that the designers found for me. And I love it so much because it leads into the kind of purple burgundy tones that also are throughout the house that I'll point out. So one other thing about this room is the entryways to the dining room and the formal living. The arches and all the woodwork, it's very special to us. And it was all custom made by our architect, Harris, which we love. So going with all the arches and trying to reflect the arch in the front door that also goes through the two other hallways from our entryway. And now I'm gonna take you to my dining room, which is one of my favorite places in the whole house because I love tablescaping. And that was a thought that I had when, you know, putting together the design for this dining room. First of all, the silk wallpaper. At first, we were, you know, the designers and I were thinking about something very fun and different. And then I was like, no, I need like literally something very subtle that I can actually put a lot of color on the table and florals and details and make it really fun. So basically, this is a very calm, soothing room for me. I showcase all my Mari plates collection that I love. So all the details on the top of the building were custom made for us, and it kind of represents like a shell of some sort. I love to think. I love the ocean, so I try to bring it to my home in little details here and there. The chandelier is so important in this room. It was actually one of the first things that we got even before we even start remodeling, which my husband, I bought the table and the chandelier with the designers, with C's in one, you know, shopping outing. And my husband was like, but we don't even have the house yet. I was like, well, it's okay. We'll have a chandelier. So it's a Murano chandelier and it's gold and it goes really well with all the details on the walls. And the chairs, they're super fun. And I actually found them at Round Top. And I didn't even have to change the paint color because it was perfect. They were from a country club in Denmark, which I also thought that was really fun as well. And we were looking for something that wasn't that tall and had a lot of form in them. And then we picked an amazing fabric with Sarah from C's to reupholster it, and it worked out really, really well. And it has the gold details that also the table has, which I love. I love modern art and being able to have a Rebecca Ward here in the entryway, again with this burgundy and just purple details makes it really fun and kind of like when you walk in, it looks super striking and exciting. So the table was one of the first buys with the chandelier, and it has a glass, like opaque glass on top, like a vintage antique glass on top, which makes it so fun to dress because everything reflects on it. So all the glassware you put on it reflects. I love it so much. Again, I love Lalique. I think they're so fun, and you know, it reminds me of my mom and of my own home. So having it at home is very special to me. Again, with the old lady things. And I love Michelle Rawlins, another woman painter. Her detail is incredible, and I especially love it here with the blush silk wallpaper. So the window treatments in this room were also picked to make it very elegant and soothing. So again, the fabric on the top really complements the fabric of all the chairs, the upholstered fabric of the chairs, and I love that. And then this silk is so pretty. I just, I love fabrics. I love texture. So, and every window treatment in my house is lined with this pin strip that makes it even better, because from outside you can look in. That was my designer, Sarah. So I loved it as well. And then in here we have a jadro. Again, it reminds me of a home. It reminds me of, of all the things that I couldn't touch around my mom's formal living room. And a tea set. I think everybody needs a silver tea set. And I love kind of like that, the mix in of like very old traditional things that I'm gonna pass to my boys with that contemporary art. We decided to wallpaper this door, but the fun part about it is that it leads into the kitchen. So our home, if you ask me how it will be described, is a mix between new and old. We love antiques. I love antiques, and I love, like my husband tells me, old lady stuff. I do love Lalique, love Jadro, love all the tiny Imari plates, all of it. So we were very, very lucky to find designers like C's. Corvin and Sarah work really close, and all their team, Allie. So we incorporated that antique part of the whole process, using very traditional elements, but also putting in like leopard carpet or, some new art. I worked with our consultant Temple on all the art in the house. We love contemporary art. So we added to the house our personal collection of women artists, which makes it very new and vibrant, but also has the traditional feel of antiques and also traditional furniture, like couches and chairs done the traditional way, which Corbin, he's incredible at that, and he was a great source for it. In my home, you can see a lot of different prints and layering, which is what I believe makes a house interesting and soulful and gives it depth. So this is my kitchen. And I always have loved a really big island, because I think that with a big family, everything gets put in this island. And right now it's very clean, but in our everyday life is full of everything, from backpacks to lunch boxes to schoolwork. All of the things are always on here. Things about this room that I love. The Delft tile was painted for us, custom. And here in the back, we have like the sea monsters and the boats. And then on our fireplace in the same room, we have all the mermaids, and there's actually 2 tiles of my boys playing in the ocean, which is very sweet, and I'll show you in a second. One of the things that I love about this room is the paint, how it has 2 tones, makes it super interesting. And, I love green. Green is one of my favorite colors, and there's a lot of green in this house, but the kitchen being green makes it very special. And it's, it's one of those rooms that we're in a lot of time with the kids. I love the hood being copper with the brass elements. I think it also brings in the stairwell and, all of those details from the house into the kitchen as well. So I love that very much. So I picked the marble for this countertop, and I love how it has a lot of green, but it also has like every tone of green in it and a little bit of blue. And I love how big it is and how much you can see of it. So it's one of my favorite things in this kitchen as well. And the boys sit all the time in the island. just to, whenever we're cooking and they're, just eating dinner or eating a snack. And this is one of the places that we make the most memories with our family. I love cooking. I love to bake. So banana muffins are a favorite in my house that I have to do almost every week. Crepes on Sundays are a must. And I also love like cooking big dinners for my family and friends to come over and eat. So, I have some of my mom's favorite dishes. I have a carrot cake that is famous within our friends. So when we host like smaller dinners that we host here at our dining room, I would actually lay out all of the appetizers here in the island. And then we either go through this door or through that door to the dining room for dinner. So it works really well for entertaining as well. So family time and entertaining. This is another built-in that is very dear to me because I love plates. Every color, every shape, lettuce plates, all of the plates I love. So this gives me a little bit of, space to showcase them. And, these are a plates that we use every day, which I love that they're so convenient here in our glassware. And then, it also helps me use my beautiful plates in an everyday life and not waiting for special occasions, but also use them, the more, the better, I guess. And I love these jars where I have all of my different, kind of, again, just daily sets that are easy to use, that the boys can grab. It's just very easy. We wanted to make this room, the kitchen and this living, a little bit more of that Spanish Mediterranean coast vibe of the house on the outside. So these beams were brought from Nebraska and they were so heavy. My husband told me that he had to actually dig them up and then put them in because they were complete wood, which was kind of fun and exciting. But yes, and we wanted to make it, that nautical feel. So same with the drop lights and then the beautiful boat chandelier in the breakfast nook. That took almost 2 years to make. We custom made it, well, the designers did, Cis Design did, and we custom made it from an antique that is huge, and we custom made it into a smaller version for our breakfast nook. So I love flowers, and these orchids, I wanted like a big plate, which Noelle, a friend that has a store here, Noelle Pittman, I got this vase at her store, and then with all the beautiful flowers, I think it just kind of like centers the kitchen. I started Dondolo more than 10 years ago, and it has changed over time. It started being a website that only carried Pima cotton clothing, and then it became an actual seasonal line for children's that we sold in market. So it was 100% wholesale. And then it became what it is today, which is we are a retail shop that sells mostly online. We also have a little store in the design district. But I think the most important, and what for me is the most important about Dondolo, is the heart and soul, which is our gift bag and all the women that we employ in Colombia. We employ around 150 women in the factory, and then plus another 50 who do all of the embroidery by hand. So every dress that you buy from Dondolo that has hand smocking or hand embroidered is literally done by a woman, and she takes a day, sometimes 2 days, just doing one dress. So that's what is most special in the heart of the brand. And what is also special is seeing all the memories that our clients create with our beautiful pieces. And I love designing. For me, picking fabrics, putting a bow, putting a button that is a flower or a heart in a piece, it's my highlight. I love being able to mix prints and fabrics and textures. And I think a lot of that part of me, you can see it in the house, and I love that about it as well. Our biggest requirement in this breakfast nook as a family of 6 with 4 boys was that the chairs could be wiped down super easily, and same with the table, that we didn't have to be worried about dents or anything like that. So designers picked this amazing table that we love. It cleans super easily, and this incredible bench that is blue and really goes really well with all the window treatments that are plaid. And I love this blue plaid that also carries into our living. So again, kind of bringing that around. The boat, our chandelier, boat chandelier, which we, it was custom made for this space with the perfect, size, and we love it so much. And the wallpaper on top of it is actually zodiac signs all over it, so it's kind of like the stars. So again, bringing that nautical feel into this breakfast nook makes it very special for us. So the window treatments are super sweet. They bring, those bows. Again, I live in a house full of boys, but I'm very romantic, and everything that I create with Dondolo is very, just sweet. So Sarah from C's wanted to bring that sweetness into these window treatments by adding those beautiful bows on them. So we're going into our living room, and where we spent a lot of time, in our day-to-day life. Again, this couch was it's so good for us because, I wanted something that could be very comfortable for the boys, but also that could clean easily. So you guys, just the leather on that bag, it's amazing because my kids walk in every day and do this and do this again. So being it leather is awesome because it doesn't get dirty. I don't suffer, it's making things also, they need to take care of things in the house just because it's good for them to grow up around beautiful things and to have that, but at the same time, making it easier for them, I think it's a huge deal. Again, the fabrics, I love being able to mix prints, and that's one of the things that in the house, I think my designers did an incredible job, Sarah, especially kind of showing me all these different prints that actually go really well together and coordinate, but they have, they're very different from each other. So we see it here, and we see it in these 2 chairs, that as a whole, it looks so beautiful together. But when you actually see it separate, you think, okay, how is this gonna work, right? I love this painting by here. It's by one of my best friends, and Carly Martin. She's an artist and awesome. And it's, it's kind of like our happy when we walk around this part of the home every day. To see it, and also the boys being able to see a friend that is a woman artist, it's awesome. Our fireplace is also a very special thing in this room because it has, yes, all the mermaids that were hand painting custom for us, but it also has, 2 of the tiles are boys playing on the ocean, which is, super special to them and to us as well. The artist was a kind of like a surprise that she snuck in when she sent it to us. So I'm very grateful for that. All of the tables in our coffee table mean a little bit of something to us and are ready for the kids to kind of open and look through them. Cartagena, I grew up in Cartagena, Mexico City. That's where my husband grew up in. Again, Landon Metz, this painter above the fireplace. In Italy, where Santiago and me, my husband and I, went last year. We do 2 trips a year, just the 2 of us, just kind of like to, have some time for us. And last year's was in Italy. And that book was gifted to us, and it was very special. So all the florals that you see today throughout my home were done by Nolan from Bottega de Flores. He's awesome. He's an artist. He takes flowers and arranges them in such a way that is so beautiful and interesting to the eye. And then the base, I got it at a estate sale. I was like, today I'm looking for bases. I need some new and fun ones. And I found this one, and I think it's the perfect height, you know, to showcase. These beautiful planters, kind of like the wicker, going back to that, you know, on the ocean vibe of this room. Sourced by the designers, and I love how, you know, these plants look on them. They bring life into this room, and the sconces are so fun, and they're again kind of thinking that boat life, which we love. So, and I love how this chair is so different and an antique, and the other three in the room are not. And they just have incredible leather or different prints, and they'll talk to each other in a way that is very interesting in layers. And I also love how this wicker chair that is actually plastic and super durable and perfect for children goes back to the ones in the breakfast nook. And it's awesome because whenever we do not fit, we can always move the chair back there. So the floors in this room were one of the first things that we picked. And we wanted, again, to pick something that felt very like Spanish and bring homage to, you know, the house, the original house that we basically didn't keep anything of, but that style. And they're terracotta. They're literally a couple of colors of terracotta put together, and it looks very authentic. And now I'm gonna take you through this hallway that is very dear to me because it has a lot of history of our, you know, wedding and our, you know, anniversaries. All this religious art was gifted to us on our wedding day, and my mother-in-law keeps adding to the collection every year. It's from an artist from Barcelona, and it's very dear to us. So being able to have it here and go past it every day makes it very special for the boys and I. And also the lighting. I love the arch hallway and how the light shoots out and kind of illuminates the whole place. And now we're gonna go to the bar, which you can go to it from the dining room, which is right here. Use this little hallway and go into the bar to get drinks. It's a beautiful high gloss, like blue greenish color that makes it even warmer and, you know, ready to have an old fashioned in here. The stone, it's super pretty. The marble on top, it has a little bit of those tones of burgundy that also has the outside, the rug and the painting of Rebecca Ward. And all of the tile is like mirror tile, which makes it really fun and reflective. And then on the ceiling, we have this mirror wallpaper that with little stars that makes it very cozy as well. In here, we have this bench, you know, to sit while you get a drink, maybe. And it's an antique, and it also has this beautiful fabric that I love. And it kind of goes on the sides with another one. So again, that mix of prints that I love. Sarah from C's nailed it on these two fabrics. I love them so much. And this painting right here, the temple my advisor helped me get. I love how, you know, it's kind of like this flowers, but in a bigger scale, and the round shape. I think it's so different too for this space. So our friends that know where our bar is, they just come in here and prepare, you know, we have a friend that he comes here and gets old fashions for all of us. You know, we love tequila as well. We love to sip on good tequila. So that's another thing that our friends also know we have here, and it's ready to be poured. I love, you know, all the glasses. I love all the color glasses. I have all the color glasses from Stell, and I keep them in here, and, you know, just a mix of fun colors. And, you know, I just got this vintage ones. Great for tequila, I thought. But, you know, I got these ones at a estate sale, and they're aperitif baccarat, and we use them for tequila, you know. We also have these fun ones from Stell, some old-fashioned glasses that we love. They're this brown color, very fun and different. These tulip glasses I love as well. They're pink and yellow, and they're hand-blown, super special, super light. And now I'm gonna take you to our yellow room, where all the parties and big dinner parties happen. So I love color, and how I always tell my husband is that I don't think in numbers, I think in colors, literally. So I love flowers. I love to create like spaces and tablescapes and clothing that actually feels visually comfortable and happy to everyone that sees it, especially for my family, starting from myself to my family, to everybody else who buys Dondolo clothing. But here at my home, how you see it, I think it's every space or every little corner has a detail. And I think details are the most important part of the house, and also of Dondolo, and also of myself. Like when I get dressed, I love picking shoes that will tell a story. You know, I love picking jewelry that, you know, will coordinate with what I'm wearing, but also that I feel very comfortable and confident in it. So I think the details is what tell a story. A fringe in the couch that I just turned around while I was sitting here, and there's a green velvet sofa with gold fringe that with the carpet, leopard carpet, looks, you know, just tells a story. So I love that about details. And the first stop in the yellow room is this beautiful bathroom that I love because of all the different colors and how they contrast together. I love kind of like the wicker wallpaper that goes all the way to the ceiling, and the marble green that kind of ties with all the green in the house. And I also love the yellow door that on the back, it's a burgundy. So again, bringing the burgundy around the house as well. And all of the built-in is burgundy as well. And the tile is green. So basically yellow, burgundy, and green kind of mixed all together. So this is my yellow room. I wanted a yellow room for so long, and it's like, because yellow is happy, right? Yellow is joyful, yellow is celebration. So I wanted this room to literally do that. So on all the built-in, I only have like tablecloths and napkins and that I've collected throughout the years. And you know, I brought this big table here because I wanted to sit, you know, 14 people and do bigger dinners, but also have this, we've used it for the boys' birthday parties. We've used it for trunk shows. We've used it for so many incredible things that bring people together that I love it so much. The paintings are prints by Virginia Jaramillo, who's a woman painter from the 70s. So she wasn't very well known until a couple years ago, that then she kind of boomed and books were written because of her. So she's incredible and awesome, and I love her pieces in this room, how they bring, you know, again, all those colors in from the house. So these bookcases kind of show truly kind of like what we love as a family, you know, and they're a representation too of us with lots of pictures of our loved ones. My dad is in here, my father-in-law is in here, us on our wedding day, and we have like bases from Italy that we have brought. We had other bases that are so fun and different, and also the shells everywhere. We love the ocean. We love being, you know, reminded of the ocean in our daily life. The corals around it are super fun as well. And the vintage books, and the designers played a lot on this, arranging it together and put it all these special pieces in it. A lot of vintage birds that I got at a estate sale as well. So it's kind of like the old and new horses. My dad loved horses. My son loves horses. I love horses. So it's kind of like the new and old, and kind of like what we love as a family So the lamps, we have 4 in the room, and I love how, it looks very much like perfect for the room, but it also kind of like divides the light up as well, making it very warm as well. So I love that about it. The table, this was one of the things that we brought from our old home, and I love it because it fits so many people. So, I love keeping it. And then we added the wicker chairs to kind of bring more of that living room to here as well. We love fireplaces. We put them on a lot during the winter. I feel like Texas, it's so fun to just, turn it on in a random day because it could be spring and still be very cold, right? So we love having fireplaces around the house to be able to warm up. One of the things that I love about the window treatments in the whole house is that they have a lot of me in terms of like how they have the ruffle, and that again, Sarah from Seas was incredible to put it at. And then this fabric is so beautiful, and it has yellow in it. It has that brown, a burgundy color on it as well. And this beautiful pleated ruffle. So we wanted to make this space also ready to, watch a game or, watch a movie with friends or, just the boys. So, they added this little table, side tables that fit all the books. I think they're precious and they're so fun. And the couch is super comfortable with all the yellow and brown pillows on it. Again, adding that contrast and the different types of fabric that I love. And then these stools are one of my favorites because they have like the little foot around them, and the boys love them. They use them every time that we're in this space, to put their feet up or just to sit. And the scalloped carpet is so fun, and again goes back to those more sweet romantic details of mine. What I love most about my home is how it brings my family, my boys and my husband together, and how it brings other people that we love together, friends and family. I love being able to create memories in this home. And I love that the home actually has spaces for us to create them. So that's what I love the most about it. We literally thought about this since the moment that we start, talking to the architect, but just how the house flows and how it has like a more intimate spaces for small groups of people. And for our family, what works for our family, like in the kitchen and all around it, how we can have those memories every day of our life is what I love the most about the house. And this is our library, former living, a brown room, how we call it here at our home. I love this room for so many reasons. First, because it's, darker, which makes it a little bit more, adult in a way. So I love the lacquered brown walls and the gold wallpaper and how the chandelier reflects the light on it. I love that about it. And love how many seats you can get out of this room. So it's special when we're with friends and, some people sit over here, some others sits over there, and there can be a couple of conversations going on at the same time. I love that about a room. Amazing women painter in the back, Corinne Lynn. Love it. The designers worked with me and I worked with my consultant. So it came together beautifully is what I'm trying to say. Fireplace, it's an antique fireplace. They assembled it together here. It only had a couple of pieces and then they put it all together from petite. It's so beautiful and it brings that, again, that burgundy color into this room with the browns, which I love. These two yellow stools were reupholstered in this yellow, beautiful fabric silk. And I think they add kind of like that vibrancy to this room and also ties this room to the yellow room. I love this lady, sort of a Virgin Mary from Italy. I got it at Ellis Hill with Margareta. And I love how it looks next to this beautiful, the velvet couch with the French gold fringe at the bottom. I love how when we worked with C's, with the designers on each piece of furniture, we worked out of fabrics and trims, and it's kind of like how I work for when I'm working for pieces at my collections at Dondolo, kind of like putting together, the trim of the back of this couch and the little other trim that goes on the sides of it, and then the French, and then seeing it all together at the end was literally a magical process, because I've never, been through the journey of creating furniture. So it was really spectacular to see, from like pieces of fabric to this. Another thing that I love about this room is the rug, the leopard print rug. I think it adds so much fun and texture and layering to the room. And as coffee tables or side tables, we actually have 4 completely different pieces, but I love how different they are and how they mix together. So this one is an antique, and then that one is an antique as well. And this too, the side brown table and this white one are from very modern furniture designers. This one has little legs, which I love, this white one. And it makes it very interesting and different. I love this chase right here with all the pillows on top. Bosco also loves it, by the way. We need to keep him because we used to find it all covered in fur. But just kind of laying here and it's so comfortable and fun, even to read a book or, just hang. It's beautiful fabrics, they're soft and, just very special nook. Okay, and now we go upstairs. So I think what gives home a soul is the details and the people that live in it. I think that, our home is a reflection of who we are as a family. And I feel that when you feel comfortable and when you walk in a home and you feel that it has that warmth, is because it has a soul, because everybody in the home feels so comfortable making themselves feel at home and feel happier, that energy carries, throughout the home. And we're here in my office where the Dondolo magic happens. And I love this room so much because it's huge inspiration for me. The wallpaper, for example, we worked with Degrenay to add the blue herons to this wallpaper they do, because I love birds and I felt it needed some blue to go with my art piece right here by another woman, Susan Well. She's amazing, and this was a huge part of this room as well and source of inspiration. Again, the carpet with all the pinks and the texture, I love just walking barefoot through this carpet. It's so magical. And the furniture, like this beautiful couch, was created by the designers. And with the fabric, the little bows, again, bringing back that romantic part of me and putting it into furniture around the home. I think those details is what give a home soul. So I love it so much. Again, all my books, and then all of the photographs. I love the photographs of my boys and our family how we've been growing throughout the years, and the vintage and antique pieces that I've collected, and it's very special. This chandelier I love so much, and especially because All of the ceiling is painted the same pink as all the trim and the wood and the built-ins, so it makes it pop even more. It's a Murano chandelier and it's pink, like I just fell in love with it since the beginning. So my desk is an antique. I love it. There's a problem though. I cannot open a couple of drawers. So, I need to call someone. But other than that, the chair, I love this fabric on it. It's so soft and comfortable. And it reminds me of corals, which again, I love the ocean. So love it in here in this room because it brings it a little bit too. So a lot of people ask me, like, how could I have all this nice furniture, the velvet sofas and the chairs and, with 4 boys and a big dog and, just a lot of craziness around us every day of our lives. For me, I always respond that boys also love beautiful things, and it's good for boys to grow up appreciating and loving beautiful aesthetics, beautiful art, and get that part in them, alive. Because if you don't start it as a child, then as an adult, it doesn't come easily, or, you have to work for it. So you can have nice things with boys, and with 4 boys even. I think that raising them around beautiful things and teaching them the respect that you have to have for, things, and also translates into people and into art, and also, just learning that things can be aesthetically beautiful and you have to take care of them. I think that's very important. And I think that if you start from a young age, they realize that, they love being able to be in a beautiful house. And this is the sitting area on our bedroom. I love the degradé wallpaper in here. It's so soothing and beautiful. And again, I wanted something very calm and happy with a lot of details, of course, but for our bedroom. I love this silk window treatments, and I love the top part of it. It just flows really well with the whole room. This desk is an antique, and I have all of our cards with our names just to write a card, And then we have this little sitting area, which has worked so well for our family, because this is where, the boys will come and sit for a little bit before, going to bed, read. I've loved it to read during the day. It's one of my favorite spots to do it. And I also love the art in here. So kind of like that contrast between the light wallpaper and then the dark floral art, and how it goes with the zebra. And right off the sitting room, I can take you to our bathroom. It's cozy. We love the mirrors. We love the antique mirrors on the back. And then with these beautiful mirrors on top, I think it adds so much character to the whole bathroom. Again, we picked the pink marble tops, which I love. And then we added these little curtains underneath, inspired by Santiago growing up going to his grandfather's house. And we just literally needed more space for, putting all the things that you put in the bathroom. So we loved it. Our towels were done by Valentine Linens. She's awesome. So, the beautiful monograms, our bathtub. I love like the cornice too with the bathtub. Oh yeah, and the wallpaper, the striped pink. Everybody was like, oh, and what does Santiago think about the pink wallpaper? And I think pink is a very neutral color. It's very romantic and feminine, but it's also very neutral. And especially when it goes to that mauve-like tone, I think it's very neutral and I love it. And then this fun detail, these tools I got in Round Top not so long ago. And they're from the 70s, a designer from the 70s, a furniture designer. And we've been loving them because we needed somewhere to sit, put shoes on, put, a towel or whatever, some space. And then the tile, I love the pink on the tile. It has a little bit of a light pink on it, and it's so fun and beautiful. And now we're headed to my closet. So what I love the most about my closet is the color. It's the same one from my office space, in my closet. And I love it so much. It's peaceful. Again, like I said, I think pink is a neutral. And then all the wallpaper is seagrass, but it's like a pinkish color, which adds, just that, the same tonality of all over it. And I love that all of my dresses are covered. I have some Dondolo dresses from this spring, and they're ready to be packed for my next summer vacation. So I always wanted a closet like this that, I love getting dressed. I love coming up with outfits last minute. I am not good at, planning an outfit a week before. I'm great at being like, oh, we have this dinner. Okay, what could I wear? And, just come up with it in the minute of it. I feel that it comes up way better than when I plan it. So I love, kind of like picking a dress first and then going with accessories, my scarves, if I need a hat, and then going to my shoes. So let me show you my shoes. So I didn't own any, cowboy boots, but, Lizzie, Miron Crosby, Lizzie and Sarah. So now I own a lot of cowboy boots, and then, city boots. I also own some. I love supporting my female friends, entrepreneurs, but I also love a good cowboy boot. I think they're awesome. So this is our playroom, and this is the place where the boys spend the most time playing, especially with friends. They come in and, they have everything in these drawers, and they just, pull it out and just play, and then, pull it back in. Sometimes it doesn't always go back in there, but, we're learning. But this is a great, place for them to grab books and to grab board games. We have all our board games right here. And these are antiques that I got from Roundup as well. And this art piece was done by Catalina. She's an incredible artist, and she does all with black ink and also some red and burgundy. It's so beautiful. But I wanted some animals so that it could go into the wallpaper in their study area, which has that beautiful animal wallpaper, like African wallpaper. I wanted to tell a story. Same with the carpet in here, that is a tiger. And all of this furniture, it's actually outside furniture that we decided to use inside an Idea of Seas, which has been incredible because we don't have to worry about it being clean, about, it being damaged. It's just beautiful and easy to maintain, which is so, so fun. So one of the things that I always, try to teach my boys is that, yes, we need to take care. And again, this is our playroom, so there's not a wide couch in here. It's all outside furniture that it's good to upkeep. But at the same time, I want them to be exposed to like art and beautiful, special things that I find, because I also want to tell them, for them to learn that beautiful things, you take care of beautiful things. Same with these ones that I found, that they're antiques, and they know, and they will take care of it. And it's a process. So I think that you learn it throughout the years. So this is an extension of our playroom, and probably one of our most important rooms in the house, because this is where the boys do their homework and where they do all their crafts. So again, it's fun. It has an amazing wallpaper, but is also very easy for them to maintain with all the labeled, boxes for crafts, for pens. And I tell you, they do a ton of crafts in here. They love it. My 13-year-old just finished that huge roller coaster Lego, and we love it. And it's in here that we, kind of showcase her art. And then I take it all down every season and then start putting them again. So we have our little bistro curtains right here that lead to our courtyard. And, this special and beautiful details are the ones that I love my boys to be exposed to in their daily lives. Home is sacred. Home is where I ground, and where all of us, like all of my boys and my husband, ground with me. It's our place for feeling peace and joy at the same time. So basically, being together and at home is when we feel complete. So home for us is being, complete and happy.
Hi, Homeworthy. Welcome to our New York City townhouse. Come on in. I'm Elise Erens, and I'm CEO and co-founder of Francis Valentine, and welcome to my West Village home. My house was built in 1851. We, along with 3 other homes on the block, and we are the 4th owners of this house. Everyone has lived here for 50 years. I know the history of all of the previous owners, and we have lived here about 25 years. And it is a beautiful home on a beautiful block, and we feel so lucky to be here. The red door actually has a real story. So right after the Depression, Dorothy Draper, who was this fantastic entrepreneurial interior designer, she was a pioneer for women. She had the idea to paint your door bright red as a way to lift up everyone's mood after the Depression, and a sign of welcome. And the owner of the home then was a woman by the name of Virginia Kirkus, and she owned the famous Kirkus Review, which reviewed books. And one of the books that she reviewed was Dorothy Draper's book that came out at the time, and we believe they were friends, and that is why my door is painted bright tulip red. And the owners from whom we bought it kept the tradition, kept painting the door red every single year, and we do the same. We have people, I don't know how many a day, maybe 100 a day, actually take pictures in front of our red door. It's a real focal piece for the block, and it's a happy place to take pictures in front of for weddings or your holiday photo, whatever. And then we had a couple people knock on our door a couple months ago. They bought a house about a block away, and they asked if they could also paint their door red, and could we give them the color of paint? So we did, and they have their door painted red down the block, so it's nice. I do love red. I just think it's such a vibrant color, and it always gives sort of a spark when you need it. You can tell my house has a lot of red in it. I use red pillows for accents, red Roman blinds. Red's a big color in our house. I painted these like a coral red. So we've got red everywhere. Welcome to the foyer. So we did a few things in here. Of course, we start with a lot of color. This rug is from Morocco that we picked up on our trip there. And then we take the red version all the way into the hallway, and all the way up the stairs. All 3 flights has the red carpeting. And I love red, as you know. A really beautiful piece of artwork here that I love. And then the interesting thing about the foyer is these are original floorboards, and the last time we had them sanded, the guy said, this is the last time you can do this because they're getting really, really thin. So I think next time we'll have to probably replace the floor, but we really like the old flooring because of the wide planks. It's really beautiful. So this mirror was originally gold, And we have a lot of greens in our home all throughout. And so we decided to paint the frame green, which is really fun. And then, of course, I love flowers. I have fresh flowers everywhere. I'm not much of a flower arranger, but that's actually okay because I really just like a whole group of the same type of flower, and I put them all over the house in different vases. You know, I love the history of living in an old home. There's nooks and crannies in this house that the gutted versions don't have. I'm still finding new things. I know down in our in the garden apartment, where we have tenants who live down there, but in the garden apartment, there are still buzzers for servants down on that floor. And we decided not to get rid of those because they're part of the history of this house. So there are some little things. There are stained glass windows. If you look up my staircase, there's a stained glass window up there. And every time you walk up the stairs, there's a little bit of light through that window, but it's the history of this house. And I think living in a place, it's personal to the people who have lived here and loved this place before. And I think that's really special. So now we're going to move into the living room. And this is a room where we entertain all the time and a lot. And so one of the things that was important to me and my husband was to create a space where we could move things around really easily. So a lot of our chairs, these chairs are on wheels, so we can just pull them up to the group. We'll play charades here, we play games, we'll have singing and do a lot of different things. And then I also have a lot of these little sets of ottomans around. This is a Clarence House fabric, by the way, that I love. But we have these ottomans sitting around, and normally those go right behind the settee, but I moved them over here today just because we were all sitting and talking. And I've got another set that can go over there, and then you see I've got these 4 chairs that can move into the corner, so you can actually create a really big space, or half of them could really be put away. So it's a really great way to have a space that's really flexible because we entertain a lot. And then I'd love to show you some of the artwork. So a lot of people ask about all of the artwork we have, and it's funny because so many of our pieces are through friendships, and this was one of them. This artist, Paco Simon, was a friend of my husband's, an artist from Barcelona, and my husband bought this from him many, many years ago. But it's a really beautiful piece, and I love it because it's so graphic. He was a student of Miro and followed Miro, and so I think it's one of those really special pieces in our home. Next, over here, these were mostly my husband's collection over time, but these 2 in particular were wedding gifts to us. And this one is by an artist named Peter Hopkins. He used candy wrappers to make this piece, and then he put acrylic over the top. So it's really, really cool. This one's by also our artist friend, Steve Miller, and that was the place where we got married, and he painted that scene for us, so really nice. Then you come across all of our personal pieces, and these are pieces that my children made. My youngest made this one, really fun. Middle daughter, Jane, made this one. My daughter, Katie, painted these 2. And this one's actually from a friend of ours, Gareb Seamus, notably the founder of Comic-Con. He's also an artist. This piece by Barbara Bashlow Gross, I bought right when my husband and I got married, and I thought, oh my gosh, that red will look fantastic over our fireplace, so over the mantle. So, and it does, it fits perfectly. I just love that piece. You know, it's funny because I kind of sometimes feel like art picks the person instead of us picking the art, because when a piece just screams out at you, you know you really want to have it. And we collect things, and then I have a lot of friends gift us art. We also pick up art pieces when we're traveling because we like to remember a place. So we'll pick up a sculpture. My husband, I think, picked this up in either Thailand or Bali before he met me. So we've got many pieces like that throughout the house. But we picked this one up in the Caribbean when we were, because we really like to support local artists in those areas. So we picked this one up in the Caribbean. That was a birthday gift from me to my husband. It's a Frida Kahlo, but I found it in London at this gallery. Gift from Andy Spade to me. and a lot of these are gifts, but we love art, so they're great gifts, and we've been able to fill our home with them, which is really nice. This one is a piece that I really adore. This is by an artist named Peter Buckman, and Peter really focuses on the 40s, eras of the 40s and 50s, and so my husband bought this for me because he said it looked like me, which is so flattering. So when we moved in, we decided not to do a lot of work. There were some things we had to do, which were completely redo the plumbing and heating, AC, that kind of thing. But we decided not to change anything else about the house. We have really beautiful Greek Revival molding throughout the house. That is all hand cast. It's gorgeous. The chandeliers are original to the house, and there are so many original things that we did not want to even scrape off a lot of the paint because of the history that was behind all of it. So we did not do a lot. We just did what we had to do for the house to become a little bit more modern living. I'll tell you, a lot of the houses on this block have all got renovated on the inside, and the facades are beautiful, but they've lost a lot of the character that I think is so special about living in one of these old homes. So we have kind of an eclectic feeling about decoration. I like vintage pieces, and I like to mix it with modern pieces. So also famous artists with my kids' artwork. So there's a lot of mixing and matching, but I think that's what makes it feel so personal and makes it really homey. And your living room, you have to love it. It can't just be this formal space that is for when people come over. You should love it the second you walk in every single time. I throw it together. I actually love a lot of patterns and colors, as you can tell by everything at Francis Valentine. But I think if you have some really good solids and then you mix your favorite patterns in together, and there are some patterns that really work well together. And we actually used an interior designer interior decorator for helping me find all of the patterns, because there's, it's just like going into a library and not knowing what book to pick. He is fabulous. We worked with Steven Sklaroff. He's fantastic, and I did not do this by myself. This one is a Will Cotton, also a gift from my husband, and this is one of Will's earlier works. I love his candy. It makes you so happy to look at that one. And then this is our really longtime friend, Lowell Boyers, who also an artist, and beautiful, beautiful work. And he's been painting. His new works are incredible. So there are some interesting pieces of this house that were here before we got here that we loved and have kept in the house. And this is, one of these beautiful wood mirrors. This was here when we arrived, and it's been here ever since the house was built. Really great. It's missing a few pieces, so we need to get it repaired, but it's just, it's one of the things we love about this place. Another is you can see the molding throughout the house, and it's typical of these Greek Revival, and this was late Greek Revival homes. But I think it's really special. My husband had this fantastic idea of putting soft air conditioning ducts behind the molding up there, which is actually worked out well because we don't have to have any air conditioning ducts anywhere now. This is one of the original chandeliers. We've got two of them here, and this was converted by the last owners. They used to be gas, and there's still the gas spigots on these, which you can see. You can just turn the gas spigots on and off, which is kind of fun. They were converted to electric by the last owners of the house. Next, to talk about the fireplaces, one of the reasons we really loved this home and we wanted to buy this home was because of the 7 fireplaces in it. I'm such a fireplace freak. I love fires. And so we used to burn fires here, and it would smoke up the whole house. And part of the reason is because these were originally coal-burning fireplaces. So they're not very deep, and they do get smoky very easily. So we put in a fan and a vent, nothing really worked. So what we did was we converted 3 of the fireplaces to gas, and we have fires all the time in our fireplaces. But I just absolutely love the fire. So we bought these on Hudson Street. The name of the store is End of History. And it was right after we closed on this house, and we thought, let's go buy one thing for the house. So we bought these 3 pieces. This is where they arrived, and this is where they have lived for the last 24 years. And they've not broken, and they're not chipped or anything. I'm a very unlikely person to end up in the fashion business. I grew up on a cattle ranch in Kansas. I was the last of 4 daughters, but I always really loved vintage clothing and shopping and fashion. And my mother is an artist and did all the costumes for our local community theaters, so we had access to a lot of costumes in our house and had a lot of fun with it. And I think I just loved fashion all the way through. And when I got to college, Mary Tyler Moore was a really big influence for me growing up, because she was that single woman who made it on her own in a man's world, and she had great style. And so did Rhoda, and so did Phyllis on that show. And so I got to college, and I was going to major in journalism. And lo and behold, I met this fantastic woman who was just down the hall from me in our dorm named Katie. And Katie was also a journalism major, also loved Mary Tyler Moore, also loved vintage shopping. And we immediately bonded. She had the best sense of humor, and we were both big pranksters. And I still am. But we had so much fun together and immediately bonded. And so kind of knew we always wanted to have a business together, even though we had no idea what that was going to be. So cut to, we both made it to New York, worked in the fashion business, and it was Andy Spade's, Katie's husband's idea. They called me one night and said, okay, we figured it out. We know what business you two are going to have. It's a handbag company. So I quit my job. We took on another partner, so there were 4 of us that started Kate Spade, and we started making handbags. And we were broke and scrappy and made it work, and worked out of Katie and Andy's apartment for about 2 years, and then got our, the whole thing, it unfolds as history. And there's one more thing I want to show you before we leave the living room area. So these are the original pocket doors. They still work, and the beauty of these is we host a lot of birthdays here, and if we want to have a surprise birthday party, the best thing to do is to invite all the people to hang out in here and hide, to be really quiet. Your victim comes in here, you pour them a glass of wine and say, oh, we're so excited, to go out to your birthday dinner. And then all of a sudden we open these doors up and surprise, which is really, really great. Another funny thing, these are all original too, all the hardware here, but our really good friend, Martin Daly, who comes over to help us a lot in the house when we need something, and we need an artisan to fix it. So Martin was over here working on something one day, and he looked at these, and they were all painted and gross and everything, and in his Irish accent, he said, Elyce, would you think about maybe like taking off the hardware and giving it a wash? And I said, yeah, sure, yeah, go ahead and do it. And voila, Martin made these look gorgeous, and he does it kind of throughout our house. When he sees something that he doesn't think is quite right, he fixes it, and he's a dear friend. Let's move into the dining room. So my house is on Bank Street in the historic West Village, and it's called Bank Street as lore goes because of the yellow fever epidemic in 1922. That meant this used to be all farmland. And in 1922, with the epidemic that happened, a lot of the banks moved uptown, and the Bank of New York apparently moved to Bank Street. Cut to, a lot of people started moving up here and building homes here, and it's really when the builders started to move to Bank Street and start to build here. This home was built with 3 others on this block, so there were 4 together by a man named, he was a builder named Reuben Wood, and he built these 4 homes together. One of them no longer exists, it's an apartment building now, but there are 3 left here. And they were built in 1851 by this builder. And Reuben Wood, who was the builder, put his daughter in this home. So this was the builder's daughter's home for 50 years. She lived here, ended up selling it to a couple who had rented from her, and that was Virginia Kirkus and her family. And then Virginia Kirkus rented out rooms to Jean and Shelley Appleton, who ended up buying the house from them. And each of them lived here 50 years, which I find so interesting. And they were all such interesting people with, really colorful lives. We were lucky enough to meet the Appletons, and they trusted us enough with their home, where we bought it from them in 2000 and have lived here ever since. The nice thing about it is, because we became friends with them, we hosted their 50th wedding anniversary here for them about, 10 years after we bought the house from them. And all of their friends came, and we let them open the door, and it was such an amazing celebration of all of us together. And they're no longer with us, but their spirits really live in this home. This is our dining room, and we do dine in here often. We have family dinners every night that my daughters are home. And what's great about this is this table was a gift from our friend Robert Lighton, who owned British Khaki Furniture. So he gave us the table as a wedding gift and these great chairs. And the chairs were blonde. Of course, I painted them red. But this table is fabulous. It's very heavy, so we don't move it very often. But if we're hosting a party in here, we'll move the whole thing over in front of the fireplace, which is fine. As you can see, I layer my rugs. Part of it is that they're vintage rugs and they receive a lot of wear all the time. So we bought this overlay one in Morocco, because I love Moroccan rugs. And it really kind of saves the larger vintage rug. And it also, creates kind of a walkway space. So it's nice. This settee came in a pair. I bought it in Hudson, New York, 25, 30 years ago. And the other one's at a different home, but this one's in chocolate velvet, and it works perfectly for my dog because she can lay on there. A, you don't even see her, but B, the chocolate velvet sofa does not look dirty at all or furry. And then come this way a little bit, I'll show you. Here's the other chandelier. A lot of family photos. We have a lot more throughout the house, but I just love incorporating some of the family pieces here. So these pieces are really interesting. This whole silver set was my husband's family's. So his mother prized this. It was one of those things when you're a kid and you're running around the house, you're like, don't get near the silver. So Andy just really loves this whole piece, and it was his family, so it's nice. This piece I adore, so I gave this piece, it's a James Nair piece. I gave this to my husband, Andy, and my business partner and good friend, Andy Spade, had collected many of these, and he sold me one for Andy's birthday. So that's the history of that piece. And these are James Nair's earlier works. And then this is another British khaki piece that we actually bought from Robert because I just love having this side buffet. We use it for a bar when we're hosting parties. And then here's two more of my ottomans that I use, and I move those into the other room for, big circle of friends, which is really fun. We still entertain a lot. We do a lot of cocktail party things. So we'll have easier things and past hors d'oeuvres and sushi and that type of thing. But the bar is always open and the alcohol is flowing usually. Go-to drink is a Heineken. I am a beer girl. I am. I'm not fussy or fancy, and I first thing I do is crack open a beer when I get home from work. Mother that I never use, but it's taking up all the space over there in my china closet. So, okay, it's really messy in there because I crammed everything in there for this, but it's 24 pieces, and it's not just 24 plates. It's 24 plates, 24 salad plates, 24 bread plates, 24 coffee cup plates, saucers. There are 24 cups. There's all sorts of serving, gravy dishes, platters, everything. That's taking up this entire closet. I think we all had very different talents when we came together. Even we were all doing everything at the same time. Everybody put their own touch on everything. And I think it needed all four of us. And the magic was with all four of us doing each part to it. It was definitely a lot of hard work. It was just 24/7. It's all we thought about was work. And you know, it was the right time for that product. And you know, I think it all just came together. It was perfect timing for us. You know, there's luck, I think, in everything you do, and of course we had some luck with that. But I think it was the right place, the right time, and the right product. I think I dress as I decorate my home. I think they're very similar. I like color a lot. I like comfort, and I like vintage things, and I like modern things. And a lot of what we make at Frances Valentine are vintage silhouettes with vintage patterns, but really bold colors with modern, there's some modern sensibility to it. And part of that is the comfort level and the fabrics we use, as well as adding pockets to everything we possibly can, and easy closures, things that modern women really like. So I change my bracelets and my jewelry every day, but these, I have to say, are my go-to. I love these stack bracelets. They're, of course, Frances Valentine. It was one of the things that I loved doing, was combining all of these different stacked beads. And this one's called my Capo stack. I love it because it just feels so colorful and festive, so I wear it often. I do not sleep with them nor shower with them. They come on when I get dressed in the morning, and they come off before I go to bed. This is everybody's favorite new picture. This was our Halloween costume this year, Mr. and Mrs. Fox. I found these great masks in Sag Harbor at the kite store, and I bought one and brought it home. My husband was like, "Oh my God, we have to go as a couple." So we went back and bought another one, and we went as Mr. and Mrs. Fox. And I promised I would try this on so you can see how the mouth moves when you talk. Hi, Homeworthy. Welcome to the West Village. This was the best Halloween costume this year. We went as Mr. and Mrs. Fox. I love this mask because I can drink a beer in this with this mask on. It's actually pretty incredible. Like, I'll scare people when I open the front door in this mask. It's great. It's great. And I can still make the sound. And now we are in the kitchen. And the nice thing about this kitchen is it's a working kitchen. We cook in here all the time as we entertain a lot. The beauty of a townhouse is having these old doors. So we had these really great pocket doors, both sides, French doors. Sorry, they're not pocket. We have these really great French doors. And so if we're having a dinner party in there, maybe the kids are cooking dinner in here, or there's two separate things going on, these really provide some quiet and privacy, which are nice. And then we had originally put in a farm table in here, with a French farm table with chairs. And we had that here for about a year, and we were like, this isn't our thing. It's not comfortable. So we knew we really wanted a comfortable space in the kitchen where we could just hang out, have coffee, and read the paper. So these, again, were British khaki. We bought these from Robert Leighton years ago, and they're this really great cane material with teak. So this is basically our kind of hangout in the kitchen area. And this rug, my uncle bought this from me when he was doing some work in Kazakhstan about 30 or 40 years ago. And it has just maintained its color and beauty and luster. It's just such a great rug. And then these, my husband and I were able to pick out the pattern and the color. Like, this is real. It's not, it looks like it's plastic, but it's not. And they last forever, these chairs. It's this company that's up in Chelsea who makes them, Maison Gatti. And I've sent so many people there to make their own chairs, but you can pick out your own pattern, your own colors, and it's really, really special. And you're supposed to kind of take these out and hose them down a couple times a year, just to keep the straw really nice and limber. And then, you know, the rest of this house, we just did the regular sort of subway tile in here, and marble countertops, which were normal for this type of house. We picked the marble out when we bought the house. It's such beautiful marble. It's really great. Pick the marble out. We always love the butcher block tabletop, and have storage underneath here. You know, you can just tell when a place has karma, good karma. And this house has excellent karma, and it felt like home the second we walked in. But there is a story to how we even were able to buy this house. We had a mutual friend who happened to be a real estate broker, and we told her we were looking for a townhouse, and she'd shown us a few others. We lost one on 11th Street to they're good friends now, but we really wanted to have a townhouse. And I'd always walked down these streets when I was young and broke thinking, who gets to live in these places? And I'd always dreamed of living in one. And so when we got married and were able to buy a house together, we started looking at townhouses. And the broker was friends with the people who owned this house, and they were named the Appletons. And so they invited us over for drinks, and we hadn't seen the house, anything. And we walked in the door and they said, just so you know, our house isn't for sale, but would you like to see the house? So they gave us a whole tour of the house. They had a tenant who lived on the 2 top floors, and we had the best time with them. They were the most interesting people. They were both 80 years old, and they just had stories. She was an art collector, an artist herself. The amazing art pieces that she had collected in Paris through the years when she was a teenager. We walked in and there was a Chagall leaning against the wall, and it's just, the pieces she had were so amazing. He had been the head of the Ladies Garment Workers Union for many years, and he was such a natty dresser. They were just cool people. They had amazing stories. So they told us about 10 times while we were having cocktails with them, our house isn't for sale. So we left thinking, that's okay. We don't, but we made 2 really great friends tonight. People will know the rest of our lives. So of course, the next day, they called us and said, do you want to buy our house? And that's how we ended up with Bank Street. I think they felt so connected to this place that they needed to hand it over to someone who they liked and trusted. And they had to meet the right people. And luckily, we were the right people. So when we got our dog, it was a surprise for our 3 daughters, and we knew that they would probably pick out a really corny name for her. So we decided we were going to name her before she got home. And we were looking up really cool Japanese names, and Suki is delightful in Japanese. So we were like, that's an easy name. So when we got home, we were like, her name is Suki, and it stuck. Are you hungry? Are you hungry? She hasn't lived with another dog since she was born, but she eats faster than anybody. It's like somebody's going to take it away from her. This is a really interesting thing. I just found this over in the corner. We've had it for a really long time, but this is a photograph of the house. And I think this was one of the first census questionnaires ever done before, and where they actually ended up taking photographs of homes. So this was during the Depression, and this is a picture of our house right here. Our neighborhood in the West Village is full of great restaurants and coffee shops and everything, and you can't go half a block without stumbling into one of them. So one of our favorites, we used to call it our Cheers bar, is the Waverly Inn right at the end of our block. One of my favorite dinner places is Cafe Clooney, right around the corner, owned by our friend Steve Abramowitz. And there's a gajillion coffee shops. So I generally make my own coffee at home. So I don't frequent the coffee shops. This is our powder room. I love this wallpaper. It's like a zebra print in green. And then the basket weave tile floor, which is a favorite. And once we did it in this room, we did it in a lot of our other bathrooms throughout the house. Lastly, again, antique mirror in here. And then this was a piece off of the farm. It's like a great aunt or something. And you notice she's not smiling. So I think it's kind of fun to put that behind the toilet, so men have to look at her. She's obviously not a very happy person. Just one thing I want to show you outside. So if you look down, straight down at the fronts of these houses, they're all sort of in symmetry. And it's highly unusual for all of the doors and the windows and everything to be lined up like this. It's one of the few blocks in New York City that actually has this. Home is usually where the people you love are. And so I'm lucky enough, my daughters are grown, but they all come back to this house, luckily still. So we have a lot of celebrations in this house. We have had many over the years. We host birthday parties, and we have an annual Halloween party every year that's a huge bash. We have a Christmas Eve party every single year, so we entertain a lot in this house. So a lot of friends and family, and it's a great gathering spot. And we're lucky enough to have a home big enough, and we can make as much noise as we want in a townhouse, which is a big plus. But it's one of the great things about this home, because it's seen a lot of joyful celebrations here, and we'll continue to host those as long as we live here.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.